Chapter 3. Mysterious Old Man. The moon was like a silver disc, and the sky was full of stars. In the mysterious stone cave, Kang Chon sat on a stone chair, gazing at the small tripod on the stone table. In the darkness, the greenish-colored light emitted by the small tripod was very conspicuous. And with the help of this faint greenish-colored light, he carefully watched the small tripod once again. Kang Chon was no stranger to the tripod. Since ancient times, the tripod was the important weapon of the state, the symbol of power. In the hearts of mortals, the tripod is the most sacred existence, usually used for sacrifice. In addition, some cultivators will also refine the treasure tripod, but that is mostly alchemists. They refine the treasure tripod is used for alchemy. The treasure cauldrons used for alchemy were slightly different from those used for rituals. As a symbol of the Empire's heavy weaponry, the tripods of the Zhengguo were all three-legged round tripods, while the tripods used by alchemists to make pills were four-legged round tripods. However, what made Kang Chon strange was that this palm-sized tripod in front of him was a four-legged square tripod, a tripod he had never seen before. Of course, since it had 4 feet, then this tripod must be a cultivator's magic treasure. Maybe it was a certain alchemist's precious tripod, which made Kang Chon's heart even more excited. Alchemists were all transcendent existences amongst cultivators. Very few people on the Flood continent dared to offend alchemists, because the pills they made were precious resources that cultivators needed. Not only that, the circle of friends of alchemists is very wide. After all, as long as the cultivators have the day to ask for pills. So to offend an alchemist is to offend a group of powerful people behind him. In this way, the status of alchemists in the Flood continent can be imagined, especially those top alchemists. That is the cultivation world Taishan Beidou level of existence. Stamper stamped the entire Flood continent to tremble 3 times. The topic is a little far away. From the excitement back to God, Kang Chon found this small tripod is different. In the body of the tripod green border pattern, carved with an ancient character. These characters Kang Chon does not recognize, but this does not mean that these characters have no value. Smarty knows that this small tripod is definitely not just an alchemist tripod, after all, which alchemist nothing in the tripod, above the carving of some characters, even if it looks good. But there is no need for it, after all. The alchemist's tripod is used for alchemy, not to be used to decorate. In addition to these ancient characters, he did not recognize one, and even have not seen, which is even more indicative of the small tripod extraordinary, definitely not a low-level alchemist's tripod. Thinking of this, Kang Chon's heart became even more excited. If it was a high-level alchemist's Dan tripod, then selling it would definitely be a sky-high price. After all, the industry of alchemists is the least short of money. They are the richest existence amongst the cultivators, and their pursuit of extremely high-quality Dan tripods is also crazy. Kang Chon didn't think about staying himself, because this thing was useless to him despite being a magic treasure. Besides, he wasn't an alchemist, so he might as well sell it for some feats and spells really. Right? I almost forgot that some ownerless magic treasures can recognize their owners. It is said that after recognizing the owner, get news about the magic treasure. This tripod is extraordinary. Its origin must not be small, Kang Chon suddenly thought. Cultivators' magic treasures are different from mortals' weapons. They have a spirit. As soon as they are refined, they come with some information about themselves, mostly added by the refiners when they are refining them. It's just like how mortals' foundry masters come up with a good name when they are casting some weapons. But how should I recognize the owner? It is said that a cultivator of the Jidan stage can use the fire of the Danshan to sacrifice and recognize the owner, but Kang Chon suddenly chagrined to realize that he did not know how to recognize the owner. His strength was too poor. Even if he met a treasure, he could not appraise it, which made him a bit battered. Maybe we can try to recognize the owner by dropping blood. Grandpa said that some magic treasures can be recognized by dropping blood. Kang Chon's eyes suddenly lit up. Although Grandpa said that these types of magic treasures are rare, but it's a bit of luck, maybe there's an outbreak of luck. Kang Chon was not an indecisive person, and when he thought of it, he did it. Stretched out his index finger, put it into his mouth and bit it, squeezed out a drop of blood, and dripped it on top of the green-colored small tripod in front of him. In a trance, Kang Chon saw a purple light flashing through his drop of blood, but due to being confused by the light of the small green-colored tripod, it made him think it was an illusion. Z, the golden-haired monkey squatting next to Kang Chon, was somewhat puzzled by Kang Chon's selfish, curious behavior. He scratched his head, squeaked, and his two round golden eyes followed Kang Chon's example as he stared intently at the cyan-colored tripod on top of the stone table. Kang Chon's eyes stared intently at the small green-colored cauldron. He wasn't sure if this method would work. After all, he had never tried it before, but at this moment, he could only wait patiently. Bright red blood dripped on top of the green-colored small tripod. A moment later, Kang Chon suddenly heard a hint of snorting sound. His eyes instantly lit up. There was a reaction. That meant that it was useful. He was instantly overjoyed in his heart. Brush. Right at this moment, suddenly the green-colored tripod erupted with a burst of bright green light. That blazing light instantly made the joyful Kang Chon fall into a world of green-ons. Z, the golden-furred monkey on the side, was also not expecting this change. One person and one monkey just fell back and sat on the ground with a butt. Ha ha ha. Didn't think that I, Emperor Dan, would still have the time to see the light of day. Ha ha ha. Aloud and vicissitudes of the old voice violently resounded through the entire stone cave, shocking Kang Chon and the golden monkey's ears numb. Kang Chon rubbed his eyes, and when his vision regained clarity once again, he saw a half-man-sized green cauldron on the stone table, and on top of the cauldron stood a white-haired, long-bearded old man in the void. Kang Chon immediately felt dizzy, but in the end, he was strong-willed and did not make a startled expression. Instead, he carefully surveyed the old man standing on the green tripod. This measurement, Kang Chon instead became curious. The old man in front of him was very short, only half his height, and his body was transparent, emitting a faint white light, as if a fairy child had descended to earth. Kang Chon immediately concluded that the old man in front of him was extraordinary. While Kang Chon was sizing up the old man was also sizing up Kang Chon. And when he realized that Kang Chon didn't have the slightest flustered look, he couldn't help but flash a trace of appreciation in his eyes. Huh, this kid is interesting. Obviously only having a cultivation of the first level of chi practicing stage. How come his flesh is so powerful, comparable to some cultivators of the 4th or 5th level of foundation establishment stage? The old man's heart was amazed. He didn't know that Kang Chon had already impacted the foundation establishment stage 9 times. And although he had failed, his fleshly body was getting stronger and stronger. Ow. This old and young were sizing each other up. The golden-furred monkey on the side was not happy. Just now it was pierced by the green light. A wave of anger has not been sent yet, although it does not know what the old man in front of him is. But intuition tells it that the piercing light just now is what this old man is engaged in, and at that moment rushed at the old man, roaring angrily, with its 2 paws openly flashing their teeth and claws. Huh. Vajo divine monkey. Wasn't this clan extinct in the flood continent long ago? How come there's still one? The old man was instantly attracted by the golden-haired monkey. His eyes flashed with light, his face full of unbelief. Ow. The golden monkey didn't care what the old man said, seeing the old man's surprise, thinking that he was declaring war on him. He immediately made a violent rise and pounced towards the old man. Must not. Kang Chon on the side immediately changed his face. He was not worried about the old man, but worried about the golden monkey. After all, This old man is extraordinary. I'm afraid it's not something that the golden monkey can resist. As expected, Kang Chan only saw that the old man waved his hand and spilled out a piece of green light, and the golden monkey flew backward. The golden monkey was knocked back by the old man, but there was no fear. It roared angrily and rushed towards the old man again. Two claws waved a strange trajectory in midair, the sharp claws in the starlight cold light. Kang Chan was shocked in his heart. He felt that the golden monkey was not fighting haphazardly. It seemed that it would also have martial arts skills. The trajectory that those two claws traced was mysterious and unusual. It would be hard for him to block it in a different situation. However, the old man's strength is even more frightening. Both sides are completely not above a level. He just waved his hand. Golden monkey, how to come? How to go back? Little monkey. Although you have the inheritance mark, more powerful than the average spirit beast, but it is still in the toddler stage. It is impossible to be the old man's opponent. The old man had his hands behind his back and laughed. The golden monkey was furious and abnormal, constantly charging at the old man, clearly enraged by the old man's contempt. Right at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Kang Chan saw that after the golden monkey was once again repelled by the old man, it unexpectedly underwent a change. It roared up to the sky, slapped its chest, and its two golden eyes unexpectedly shot out to golden rays of light at this moment. This is true. Kang Chan did see two golden rays of light shooting out. This moment, the golden monkey's aura is extraordinary. It roared. The whole body steeply swelled up, enough to be the size of Kang Chan's 3 people. It looked shocking. Kang Chan was immediately stunned by the scene in front of him. He did not expect that cute little monkey to become so terrifying when it got angry. Berserking. It really is the Vajra divine monkey lineage. Legend has it that the Vajra divine monkey is the strongest existence in terms of physical strength amongst the divine beasts, especially after berserking. The Vajra divine monkey's strength would be doubled tenfold, and amongst the human race, only the legendary human sacred body would be able to counteract it. The old man's bashful gaze was filled with interest, and he did not disturb the golden monkey's transformation. Roar. After the golden monkey transformed, it let out a terrifying roar. Its feet stepped on the ground, and the entire stone cave trembled as if it was going to cave in and die. Kang Chan was all shocked by the aura and couldn't help but back away. Brush. At the same time, the golden monkey once again rushed towards the old man. This time, the golden monkey didn't make the mysterious trajectory of its claws from earlier. At this moment, it was exerting only power, pure power, and its 2 fists were like Tarzan crushing the top of the mountain. It crashed in with a roar, forming a hurricane even in the middle of the stone cavern. So strong. Kang Chan was full of shock, even if he was still at the 9th level of Chi practicing stage. At this moment, he was not the golden monkey's opponent, a force of power. I'm afraid that the golden monkey's power at this moment had reached the 4th or 5th level of foundation establishment, rumble. Almost when Kang Chan was shocked, the golden monkey and the old man collided together. Kang Chan watched with wide eyes. He wanted to see how the old man would face the berserked golden monkey, but he was disappointed. The old man still waved his hand, and the huge golden monkey flew backward. The 2 sides were not above a level at all. Due to the huge strength of the golden monkey earlier, it caused it to be sent flying out with such force that it crashed into the boulder and shook the stone cave.